gasket that you see here to the right. We will be using the polar array command to be able to create this project. So let's go ahead and start with our center circle here. I'm going to select, it's actually set as a radius, select somewhere here in the screen. And the reason I'm choosing this circle right here is because it's the center of this polar array. Looks to me like it's a radius of 25. I'm not going to worry about this internal position yet. I'm going to get the rest of my object already done. So right in at the 90-degree angle here is a 20 diameter and a 20 radius circle. So I'm going to go ahead and put in both of those circles. Start with my 20 radius. I missed one step. I apologize. I need to put in this circle right here. Now this is a reference circle. It's something when we're done, we will actually delete for our case. And let's see, our diameter is 160. And basically it's allowing us to know that if you looked at the center of this circle, drag it straight up, where this actually crosses is where the center of your radius 20 and our diameter 20 circles are. Now I don't need to have this line because I can use my object snap tracking to be able to put that in. So I'm going to select my circle and see how it's quadrant. If we come down here, I have quadrant selected, so it's going to snap right there in the quadrant there. Select my 20, and let's go to my radius, and go ahead and also select 20. So now I have my first object in here, and instead of having to draw a line for each one of these to determine exactly where they meet, I'm going to use the polar array. So we'll do our drop-down menu, select polar array. And I'm going to select these two circles and select enter. My base point, that's the center point that I want it rotated around, is this center circle here. I can count this as 12. So I'm going to go ahead and put 12 in for my measurement. And I have actually 24 of those circles, 12 of each size, rotated around 360 degrees of my object. So I'm going to go ahead and select close array. And then I'm going to go in here, and now I have to look at how do I get this arc in here, okay? So I'm going to select my circle, and I'm going to do a tangent radius, because I know it touches this circle and this circle, and right here it tells me it's a radius of 30. So I'm going to go ahead and select the first one, type in my measurement of 30. So at this point, I could go ahead and rotate all these giant circles around. Or I could also trim it down so that I'm not having to zoom in and out to get all of these trimmed up. So let's go ahead and go to our trim command and select my circle here. And now notice that we have just that small piece. We could also do that in the inside here, which is also a radius of 30. So let's go ahead and get our tangent radius. And we're just going to rotate those both at the same time. Select both of those, put our 30 in. And again, I'm going to trim up my circle here. And to be perfectly honest, you could come in here if visually it helps you, have this portion out. You could, or you can leave it because you can trim at any time. So let's go ahead and do our array. And I'm just going to choose these two because this is what's going to array the bottom portion and the top portion around this circle. Select enter, select my center point. And again, the default's always 6. So let's put in our 12. And there's our arrayed items. Close your array. And then you can come in here and you could just trim everything up. Now, if by chance you're having troubles trimming this up, it could be you had your associative on. And this is a case we don't want associative because we really want to be able to trim these up. And sometimes when you have associative selected, it won't allow you to trim. Now notice how I'm going through and I'm clicking each one of these. I could also hold my mouse down. And if I'm holding my mouse down, you have to be really careful so you don't select something else. But notice as I go through, it's actually makes the ones I'm going to cut a little bit lighter. And then that way I don't have to keep clicking a ton of times. Again, I'm just holding it down. If you don't like doing that, that's fine. Sometimes it's a little more difficult, or you could just do a couple at a time. And again, I'm just holding instead of doing an individual click for each one. Okay. All right, so we are actually almost done with this object. The next thing that we're going to do is we need to put in, we have a radius of 10 here. And so I'm just going to go to my circle and I'm just going to do my radius here. And I'm going to do my snap from. We haven't done that yet today. So our snap from option, if you do not have this toolbar, it's under the tools. If you don't have this tools menu, make sure you do the drop down arrow and this will say show menu bar. I have this menu bar up all the time and I would recommend you also. Go to options. Oops, not options. Sorry. Got ahead of myself. Go to toolbars, go to AutoCAD, and there's your object snap. So we're going to choose our circle and do our snap from. And I know from the center point, I'm going to select that center point, do my @ symbol, and we're going to move to the left. So it's a -40 along the x-axis, and we're not moving up or down, so our y-axis stays 0. And type in our 10. Here I could do the same thing again, or in this case, I'm just going to hit copy, select my circle, select enter, and from my center point, I'm just going to drag my cursor out to the right. Wherever I would have this circle pointing is where the measurement's going to go. So I'm dragging out to the right. I'm typing in 80 because it's 80 millimeters from the other center point here. At this point, I'm going to do my line command. And I'm going to do a line from my quadrant to the intersection of my circle. And notice that mine is actually highlighting when I hit the intersection. If yours is not, see how it's a little X there? You need to come down here to your object snap and make sure you have intersection chosen. Otherwise, it's not necessarily going to intersect exactly at that point. Quadrant. And right click, I'm going to repeat my line so I didn't have to go all the way back up the top. Hit enter. And then again, I'm going to grab trim. I'm just going to trim that off. And again, we're not worrying about dimensions or anything of that nature. We could leave this circle for now if you want to, or you could just select it and hit erase. And there's your finished lace gasket.